Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me on the call today to kindly have a chat about why it is you decided to work with me. Um,
No,
where you were before we met, all that kind of stuff, and how you found the process so far of being on the Executive Evolution Framework program. How you're finding it 9 weeks into the 16 weeks. So yeah, I mean, starting off on the call today, start where we started is why did you decide to work with me?
so I guess probably like a lot of people in my position, I was not in great shape. I was busy. I think the COVID situation was kind of all occurring, and opportunities to exercise were seemingly less. But it also gave me the chance, I think, to kind of reflect a little bit. I was at home, I was with the family, you know, working on the business in a different way that I'd never been done before. And I don't know, something just clicked. I saw a post of that you'd done with another person, and just kind of right time, right moment. As is always the good case, it caught my attention. I'm not sure whether I overlooked at it, and you messaged me, and I was kind of open to hearing what you had to say. Some of the results that you posted that seemed really exciting, and kind of felt like if I could do that, then that would be perfect. I've been up and down, round and round, tried all sorts of things in the past, and never really had sustained success. And so I was also ready. I think maybe previously, fad diets, if that's what you want to call them, and kind of going through. I mean, I'm almost the joke of the office. They all joke around, how I yo-yoed, how yes, I can lose weight, but then I put it back on, and I walk into the office with a bag of sweets at 8:30 in the morning. And they can tell, obviously, I'm no longer in body is temple mindset. And so I think I just want to try and find something that perhaps wasn't as faddy, or like the commitment in my mind wasn't going to be this is a 10-week commitment, 12-week commitment. I wanted to try and think, okay, I need to make some fundamental changes to my lifestyle that I can sustain without actually encroaching on my life. And I remember when I first spoke to you, it was around, I want to be able to enjoy things. I've got a young family. I've got, two kids that want to have ice creams and pancakes, and I want to be a part of that. But I also want to be a healthier and fitter dad, to be there, to participate in things that they're going to be doing as they grow up. And obviously, I'm, busy running the company, and that's a stressful situation, particularly now. And probably I didn't appreciate that had an effect. And I think, that's one of the big things I've taken from working with you so far, and is understanding how the stresses that I'm under in both work and family have a profound effect on my ability to and maintain weight.
Sure, 100%. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how you mentioned that you wanted to find something that was a sustainable approach. You wanted to find something that was a long-term approach, because
Yeah,
the fad diets, the quick fixes, the other stuff you tried previously, they may have worked whilst you adhered to them, but the minute you stopped and went back to normality, everything would just go back to the weight, the body, the energy would all go back to how it was before. So the sustainability thing is a huge part for sure. And it's great that you're now viewing your health as a lifestyle change as opposed to a quick fix.
yeah.
Um, when you mentioned about, where you were when we started, do you remember what your weight was at the time? Do you remember any of the starting off points of where you were at?
Yeah, so
I've got them
my
here.
weight, my weight, yeah, my weight was 102.8 kilos, I think, from memory, which was kind of verging on roughly my kind of heaviest. So I don't know, I probably had like a psychological barrier of about 105 was where I was like, right, sort yourself out now.
Okay.
And then I would do that for a period of time, get myself to anywhere 98, 97, and think, okay, good. That was at a point where like you'd notice it, and maybe I fit into what I'd call my middle to left hand side of my wardrobe. So my wardrobe is split into like thin, okay, and my fatter side. And you know, it. I have certain shirts, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, no, that's when I was in that good time and stuff. So yeah, 102.8, and you know, I don't think I had any real expectations when I started.
You're pretty open-minded, I remember.
Sorry?
You're pretty open-minded about like the pace that things would go at. You were just like, I want to make a change, but you didn't have ideas.
Yeah, and I'm a super competitive person, and so actually, for once, I didn't want to compete with myself. I didn't want to set myself a figure initially, because I actually wanted to try and make a like sustained change, as we've said, like an actual shift that didn't want to think I am going on another diet. I wanted to think I'm going to find something that will change me full stop. And yes, obviously we're in a weight loss stage, and you know that's fine. But I can already see how when we reach targets that I probably am now setting, because you know things are going well, and I'm excited by what I can now achieve. But I do see a future that is going to be maintainable, and certainly that future is not going to be a three-figure future.
I mean, we're in week 9 right now of 16 weeks, and you're down to 92.3 as of last weekend when you did your last measurements and weigh in.
Yeah.
So it's a 10.5 kg drop in 9 weeks. It's predominantly kind of consistent. You've had some better weeks, you've had some slower weeks, but you've been moving continuously in the right direction. And just to give people an idea, it's like, without like breaking down food photographs and getting those out and sharing a screen, you've not, or you tell me in your own words, what has the dietary approach been like? Do you feel like it's a hugely restrictive diet? Do you think like it's a bit more of a flexible approach?
Yeah, I mean, certainly not restrictive. You know, we're not calorie counting or any of that. You know, concerns that I've been there, done that, and that's honestly not sustainable. You know, weighing out food. You know,
the old Tupperware treatment.
Yeah, laying it all out. I mean, I'm sure it works for some people. I'm not organised in my life full stop, so certainly organising food for days on end is not high on my list. So the approach has really just been, you know, 2 good meals, you know, a nice lunch and nice dinner. Yes, I've cut the snacking, but actually I have no cravings for the snacks. And that's just through, you know, the fact that my body's in a different place now, doesn't need them. You know, I think when we maybe first started speaking, I was worried about what you're going to cut and worried about where it's going to go. And I think actually, if I look back now, like I used to drink squash, and I like squash, and I drank quite a lot, and I always thought that was fine. And so when you said no squash, I was like, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. But actually, I've had no squash since, you know, that day, and I don't miss it. You know, I have my water. I like sort of sparkling water, so I drink a lot of that. And I honestly don't feel like I'm missing anything. And I remember I said to you a couple of weeks ago, I did like a little test. So I drove myself down to the village shop, and I like walked round and looked at all my old favourite biscuits and sweets just to see if like anything was going to say eat me. And it didn't. So we're all good there.
Big change there. But the thing is, like, I was just cautious of the fact that the way you just described it sounded quite strict, like, you know, water, coffee. But if you were to let people see your week, you have cheat meals where you totally off reservoir and you kind of do what you want.
My local pub does an amazing Indian pizza, and I still have that. I had that last Friday.
And a few beers, like you've
few beers, yeah. Cut the beers last night. You know, I don't feel in any way restricted. I mean, yeah, the squash is one thing, but again, it's not a restriction. I'm pretty confident that I could have a couple of pints of that now, and it wouldn't really matter. But I actually don't want it. So, you know, that's fine. But yeah, no, definitely not restricted. You know, that's the whole reason why I think it's working so well, and the reason why I can maintain it, because I am still eating. You know, I probably feel like I'm at the point where if I really wanted that Mars bar, I could have it. I just don't, you know, which is good.
It's good to know. It's good to know what you can and can't do in order to make the results that you want. So essentially, clearly defined structure and framework of, if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to lose weight. If you do X and Y, you're going to maintain. And if you don't do any of it, you're probably going to put back on again. So it's good to have that kind of framework for you to know whether you're sticking within it, not sticking within it, and so forth.
Yeah, and I think that's part of that educational part of the journey. Really, for me, is like, yes, I've had some big weeks in terms of weight loss, but then other weeks have been less so on weight, but I've still lost some size. And also, you know, I think we're able to reflect back and understand why that's happening. You know, so there, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I didn't have the greatest week of the 9, but I had been out for an Indian. I'd had beers. I went out with the boys for a drinking session.
Pretty heavy
beers, and I had, you know, lunch with the kids, and I had my favourite chocolate brownie ice cream slice from the pub. So, you know, but I still lost weight that week. You know, so it just wasn't as much. But it kind of shows me, and probably, you know, you can understand how when I get to a certain weight, you'll be able to manage it. So, like, yes, every now and then we're going to have that worse week, if you want to call it that. But as long as you can kind of know that you can straight away get back to where you were, get back into that good mindset, you'll just lose it, you know. And I think the ability to know that you can kind of maybe play around with 1 to 3 kilos, that's fine. You know, you go on holiday, you know, or half term like it is this week, I'm gonna do some things with the kids, and I don't want to be, you know, oh no, I don't want to have some of your ice cream because I'm on a diet. That's not the life I want. So, you know, I think that being able to know that actually, I think, you know, you said to me around the 85-15 rule. So kind of understanding that a couple of times a week doesn't matter. Do what you need to do. As long as the rest is on point, then things will be fine. And that's true. And I think that's helped me not beat myself up. I think when you're on those more restrictive, or you're weighing things, if you then have that bad day, or you're out in town with the family and they just, you know, spur of the moment decide you're going to have lunch, can't really go into too many restaurants, like walk into Nando's and say, can I have 220 grams of chicken breast, please?
You can try that, and I've seen people try that, and I've seen the look they get, so it's probably best.
Yeah. Just start walking around handy scales, like, oh, just weigh that out, cut it a bit off.
Like a dodgy drug dealer dealing Nando's chicken.
Yeah.
I think control, essentially, is like you actually feel like you have control over the process because you understand the process. It's not just me giving you a set of things to go away and do. Yeah, we discussed why. You mentioned the education side. I tried to help you understand the reasons why behind everything so that you're informed. And obviously that's worked with the nutritional side, the dietary side, but then with the exercising side, do you feel like you could change your billing address to the local gym, or do you feel like you're not living in the gym, you're not living, you know, just exercising and just focusing on food? How do you feel about the exercise approach that we've taken so far?
Yeah, no, I mean, really enjoying it. You know, obviously kind of utilising what I enjoy doing as well. So, you know, 5-side football, cycling, and then the resistance training, which, you know, is really fun. So I used to like training anyway, but certainly the routines that we've been working on, you know, they're fast. You know, I typically average, you know, 30 to 40 minutes maximum in the gym. Like the gym I use has got an app, so it tells you exactly your average duration. So I was comparing it to one of my mates the other day and just sort of seeing, I said, well, look, I'm in and out and gone. And that for me works, especially again with the young family. It means I can get up, get to the gym, you know, 5:45, 6 o'clock, and be home within an hour, and, you know, help with that morning routine with the children. So that's great from my point of view and great from my family's point of view. And it's varied and fun. I've got the different routines that you've done, and I think we've been able to work together on those, and where okay, the gyms aren't quite normal, and with the restrictions around certain equipment, that's when I'll be able to say to you that I don't think that's working, and we try something else, and I think that's the best part is that we can just be open, have a conversation, and find something that works, because ultimately that's it, really. It needs to work.
Yeah, for sure. And outside of the nutrition, so this is something I wanted to talk to you about, is a lot of people, when we first spoke, your focus was on, I need help with nutrition, I need to know how to exercise. That was kind of like the predominant area of your focus was on nutrition and exercise. Mm-hmm. But, we've worked as part of the framework that you're on, the Executive Evolution framework. It's nutrition, it's exercise, it's sleep, it's stress, and it's our outlook and mindset. So, if we leave the nutrition and exercise for a second and move on to that stuff, the stuff you weren't as familiar with even thinking you wanted or needed to work on, can you let us know how that's gone for you and how that's actually had an impact on what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I mean, when people think about losing weight, I think the first thing you think about is food and exercise. And that's probably how I'd always thought about it before. But actually, the profound part for me has been, the learning around how much the mind and kind of assists with that. So yeah, I mean, the kind of looking at my routine, looking at what I'm doing, the sleep is a huge part. I feel like I have a very good pattern now. Like I said, I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so it's kind of open to the best will in the world, their decisions. But I have a bedtime, and I have a get up time, and I probably never really had that before, and I didn't really appreciate the power of the sleep on it. So that's great. And look, again, this isn't strict. This is, in an ideal world, this is what I try and do. Certain things are going to affect it. Socializing with people, although actually at the moment that's been tempered by the rules anyway. So there's no late nights, even if I wanted them. But I think it's just given me probably a routine. Is the best thing to think about it as, and that routine, I understand what I want to get out of the day, and what I need to achieve, and that allows me to compartmentalize the aspects of a day. So I see it as like looking after me and investing in me, then going back to my family, helping them, and being around and having the time and energy to deal with my kids, which is great. Taking them to school, dropping them to nursery, all the great things I get to do, and then diving into work. Obviously, work then takes up the big part of my day, and then I kind of have that routine to shut down, and I think that's another important part, which I probably never did. I would either run out the office to grab them from nursery, or obviously now I'm at home often, so I'm lucky in that I have a physical barrier to my house behind me, so I do feel like I'm leaving, and it just gives me the opportunity to kind of go through that routine, sort of put a finish on the day, to again let me go back through that door and go back to being dad and husband for my family, and that kind of ticks all the boxes for me. So bit of time for me, bit of time for the kids, bit of time for work, and then the family gets the time again. So it's great.
One thing you mentioned, kind of touched upon something, was the prioritization of you. Like, you being a business owner and being a husband and a father of 2 very young kids, it's like your time is pulled from pillar to post with, you've got to show up for work, you've got to show up for the family, you've got to show up for your partner. Yeah. And then you, Rob, gets kind of forgotten about. So one of the big things we've worked on is about reprioritizing, so that your health is up there alongside you running your business and being a good father and husband. do you feel like, you're talking about the routines and managing your time better, but do you feel like the work we've done on you viewing yourself as a priority and it being okay and it actually being fundamental for everything else to be taken care of, you need to be good too? How much of a help do you think that kind of mindset shift has been?
Massive. I, I probably never really invested in myself. I was definitely bottom of the list, or trying to be as many things as possible. My nature is to help. My nature is to do things for other people, and sometimes to my own detriment.
Yeah.
I'll help friends out. I'll, drive to the other side of the country to collect something for somebody because I've got a car and a trailer that will do it. Those sorts of things. I've always been that person, and I'm not saying I wouldn't and I can't, but actually, in a whole day, I invest an hour and a half, probably an hour and a half, hour and three quarters to me every single day. And I didn't. And that's, that hour and a half investment in myself probably gives me 2 to 3 hours of better quality time in other areas now. I remember not too long ago, what we're 9 weeks, so maybe 10, 11 weeks, I'd regularly be like, falling asleep on the sofa at 8 o'clock, half 8, like watching TV with my wife, and like feeling the old nodding dog syndrome coming on.
Yeah.
And that's not where I want to be. I'm not old, and I need to want to enjoy my life, but I just didn't have the energy, and I couldn't probably pinpoint it. If the truth be told, I probably didn't appreciate that the stresses that I was putting myself under were zapping me of energy.
And the diet and the, like, just everything, everything is so intertwined and linked. You can't really separate one thing from the other because they all play a part with each other. The weight loss of 10.5 kg, I'm looking at your stats here. You've lost 11.5 centimeters off your hip. You lost, oh, well, that's a lot. You lost 15.5 centimeters off your waist. There's been a lot of size change. There's been a lot of weight change. But you touched upon energy there. You were falling asleep on the sofa, and that was only 9-10 weeks ago, to where you are now, which is, in your own words.
Yeah, fine. Like, I go to bed, and I probably feel like I could stay up longer.
So your energy levels have improved.
My energy's fine. I'm capable of going out and have been having some social kind of, evenings at the pub watching the football and not feeling tired. And that's considering that I'm bearing in mind I'm also waking up earlier than I used to. And again, not finding that a struggle. So my alarm goes off and I'm kind of excited for the day, and excited to get to the gym and do my thing.
It's a big difference when you're able to jump out of bed rather than drag yourself out of bed.
Yeah.
And you don't have to drag yourself to bed, but you can walk with energy to bed. Like, it's that shift. So your days are longer, you're doing more, but you actually have more energy as a result of all of it. What about how that increased energy, that increase in everything, how's that impacted both personal relationships, but also professional relationships as the owner of a business and the father of 2 young kids?
Yeah, so I think personally, it's just given me the kind of time and energy to like really enjoy my time with my kids. Not saying I didn't, I love my kids bits, but sometimes I think when you're not in the right headspace and you've had a stressful day, and probably I didn't have the ability to leave it in the office. So I would say I was with the kids, but I wouldn't necessarily say I was kind of in that space with them. Whereas now I kind of go out there and we have that time, we play the games, we watch whatever we're doing, take them to the park. And it's exciting because I'm done for the day in kind of, obviously owning a business, you're never done. But I have the ability, I guess, to compartmentalize it now and know actually I can go and have that time with kids and it's not going to have a knock-on effect.
Yeah,
it's been huge for me, and actually probably my wife the same. Just actually enjoying dinner together and actually being able to, watch the TV or have a talk and not be falling asleep on the sofa and, thinking that neither of us wanted to be there. So
the quality of the time, I should say, that you're having together has improved.
yeah, definitely. And same with weekends, I kind of, I've got that energy now, which I probably didn't have. So whereas before a weekend for me was an attempt to try and get some rest, to try and go again the following week. Actually, now I can do more things, and I know it's not going to take my energy up because I've got more energy to give. So yeah, massive in that respect. And from a business point of view, um, you know, certainly less stressed. I think some of the things that we've worked on together, some of the techniques in terms of that has had a application to the business. And like I said, when I first thought about this was about losing weight for me, but actually just even the work around making me focus on my diary, finding times, moving times, because the explanation around that having the effect on my weight, which I would never have associated, never, so understanding if I can manage myself better at work, it'll help. And it's a full circle, isn't it? Everything helps. If I have more energy in work and I'm more focused and I'm concentrating on doing what I need to do, hopefully, that's going to have a positive effect on the business. You have to ask my colleagues if they agree or not, but
Well, as a surprise, I have no, I don't. It'd be funny colleagues on another line, but I don't know. But it's interesting how you come into it with, I want to lose weight, I don't feel great, energy's crap, tired. Using the weekends to get ready to recover from the previous 5 days and to get ready for the next 5 days. You're just heading to work. So all of these things, and then how you realize how absolutely everything is intertwined. Your time management, how you view stuff, how you respond to stuff, how you react to stuff. It all impacts that bottom line of why we originally spoke, which was losing weight and getting healthy.
Yeah. And if you'd have told me that before, I'd have never believed you.
I know, it's crazy. And it's one of those things. That's why I tend to talk more about sleep, nutrition, and exercises, because that's something that everyone can associate with. But if I start talking about some of the stuff we work on during the program, once we get going, if I did that, if I spoke to you about that day one, you'd be like, yeah, not sure about that, Dan. So it's interesting how, you're viewing now health as a much broader thing rather than just what you put in your body and how you move.
100%, yeah. And
we're only halfway through, Rob, so there's still plenty of lessons to learn and growth to happen. So, I mean, compared to where you were day one, when we first spoke, we first started working together, and compared to where you are now, how do you feel your outlook on what we're doing and what you're capable of? How do you think that's changed?
I think, as I said to you, like last week or the week before, that I want to set some goals now. I want to kind of channel my competitive nature for myself. And I want to see where I can actually take this. Disclaimer to anyone thinking about working with you, you're going to need to buy a new wardrobe. So you need to factor that in. But it's going to be an enjoyable trip for once. And I'm not doing it yet because I want to make sure that, I go to where I want to get to. And, I would never have set the targets that I'm probably going to set now. I didn't think they'd be possible. I actually remember about 5-6 years ago, the doctor said to me, like, you need to lose some weight. You're going to be putting yourself at risk of diabetes. You need to sort yourself out. And I was like, yeah, I'm young, I'm fine. Like, and I said, well, so what weight do you think I should be at? And I was probably in the 100 plus then, and I think they said something like, mid 80s, and I literally wet myself laughing. I was like, not a chance. I haven't been that since I was like in my teens.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe this Saturday I might see an 8 on the scales. And I honestly never thought I'd see that number ever again. So where can I get? I think low 80s. I've said it now.
I like you've laid the gauntlet down for yourself. So not only, have you achieved a lot, but you're also seeing that you are more capable than you thought you were.
Yeah. And I think the capable, I would never have said I was not capable. I generally can do things that I commit to. I just think that the sustainability is more that I put it at. If I really wanted to get to a number, I could have,
Okay,
starved myself, trained twice a day, and got to a number. But what would I have done with that? I think probably I've done it, and then gone back.
yeah.
And so I think the number isn't my focus. Would I like to see a low 80? Yeah, I would now, because I believe it's achievable. But I believe it's achievable through living my life. Not actually forcing myself to put myself through any sort of pain routine and starvation or restricted diet. I believe I can get there through consistent and sustainable methods, and enjoy it. And that's the thing. I am enjoying the ride. And it's
big, isn't it?
Yeah. And I will be forever grateful for having seen that post and starting a conversation, because whatever happens with our sort of working together in the future, I have all these methods now that I can live by.
Yeah.
And that is worth every investment in it. I've made hundreds of investments in things in the past, in the business and in other things for myself, but I've probably never truly committed to making a real investment in me. And it's the best investment I'll make for a while, because it's going to lead to much better positive effects for all my other activities, my family, my work, home projects, outside activities. The sky's the limit for me now. I truly believe, I kind of want to start giving back. I always wanted to do these sorts of things and get involved in stuff, and I just never thought, A, how would I fit that in, and B, I'd be too tired. But whereas now I believe that it's all going to be possible.
I love that, Rob. Really do. And I love the fact that, the trigger was us talking about your weight you wanted to lose and your kind of general health not being as good as it could be. And now it's like, you said it, every aspect of life is seeing improvements. And that's the thing. Your health dictates your wealth. And I don't just mean money in the bank. I mean the wealth of relationships, both personal and professional. It dictates the wealth of the relationship you have with your kids. It impacts everything. And the fact that you see that now means that you're probably even more motivated, wouldn't you say, to maintain what you're doing, because you've seen how it positively impacts everything.
Yeah, definitely motivated. I keep getting told off by the missus for looking in mirrors, which I've probably never done before, to be honest. But I can't catch a side view. I'm like, oh yeah, I think that looks different. Yeah, it's good.
Side effects may include vanity and shopping.
New wardrobe, yeah.
Awesome, dude. Like, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about what it's been like to work with me, where you started off from, where you've managed to get to so far. Like I said, we're in week 9, so you've still got another 7 weeks on top of this, and I can't wait to see where you get to by then. But you've done so well so far. You should definitely be very proud of the achievement. 10.5 kg in 9 weeks is awesome. But yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time to explain how this has benefited you so far. Thanks a lot, Rob.
No, pleasure, and thanks for everything that you've done.
My pleasure, mate.